The new Black Clover chapter has revealed a lot of new and very important things, a whole mythological reference about a five-headed dragon and a goddess. This legend is so strongly related to the story in Black Clover that we may even be able to derive some foreshadowings from it. From the water gate to the fishing village to the Ryudo royal family with the name Ryudo itself meaning dragon head, to the small island where Yami comes from, which is part of the land of the rising sun. And perhaps even a clue to the origin of the Yami clan's power, why they are called Kijin, literally devil gods, or as it was written in Black Clover, devil human, another clue to the idea that the whole Yami family might be connected to Lucifugus, who's possibly the dark magic supreme devil. Also, the cloudy weather that Asta mentioned in the last chapter could be a reference to the mythological story of the five-headed dragon of Enoshima and the goddess Benzaiten. Could it be that the goddess Benzaiten is the person from the legend who split the sky in half by using the ZETTEN technique? And lastly, could Ryu's ki control be so advanced that he's even able to manipulate others' ki to make them see things that aren't even there? In this chapter, it was strongly emphasized that Ichika saw with her own eyes how Yami killed her clan, so it must be true. While Asta, however, insisted that even though she saw it, it must still be a mistake. The moment she saw all this, she was held by none other than Ryu. I will explain everything. If you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. Please enjoy this video. Let's go! The new Black Clover chapter 342 begins with Ichika explaining the history of the land of the rising sun, particularly in relation to the Yami clan, a group of assassins known as Kijin, who distinguish themselves on the battlefield. Kijin, also called Kishin or Onigami, is a word used in Japanese for basically wild creatures or wild deities. They are described as powerful and so violent that they are considered both demon or devil, Ki, and god, Jin, or as it was written in Black Clover, devil human, which again fits with our theory that the Yami clan is in contract with the devil Lucifugus, whom we believe to be the devil of dark magic based on several clues in Black Clover and also references in demonology. This will then boil down to the fact that the entire Yami clan must have been involved in demonology somehow, just like the Faust and the Zogratis family. Even more interesting is the idea that these three families were somehow in contact with each other, whereas the Zogratis family, with the help of Lucius, may have somehow tricked the Faust family into summoning Lucifugus to wipe out the Faust family, so that Nacht could be used by Julius, who was controlled by Lucius for his plan. Nacht only sought contact with Julius because of what happened to his family, and then it just can't be a coincidence that Nacht is also the best friend of Yami, who is part of the Yami clan, who may have a contract with the devil Lucifugus. If this is really true, then there just has to be a connection between these three families, Yami, Faust, and Zogratis. Anyway, so based on the description of the Yami clan, you can say that they are not necessarily the friendliest and kindest people. Furthermore, it has been confirmed that Ryudo is indeed not a member of the Yami clan, and he comes from what appears to be a royal family. It is a fact that Ryu looks like Yami and that Asta clearly said that Ichika and Ryu both have a very similar ki to Yami, which is usually a sign of a possible blood relation, as has been confirmed with Ichika. The fact that they have a different family name does not mean that they are not related. They could simply be cousins. There might be another reason why Ryu's ki is similar to Yami's, more on that in a moment. The Yami clan is the guardian of the province in the land of the rising sun, because for some reason, the Yami clan is stronger than any other clan in the entire land. It makes it seem like they are literally stronger by birth. Like royals in Clover Kingdom, for example, have more mana from birth. Of course, this clearly speaks to the possibility that there is something special about the genetics of the Yami clan. The royals from the Clover Kingdom stole their magic from the elves, so it is often assumed that some of this strength was passed on, which is why the royals are so strong. But I think this is not the case because, for example, Lumiere Silvermillion was already so strong before the elves lost their magic. Also, the Grinberryol family clearly shows the connection between royal and strong magic. I think it's more about strong families simply conquering the royal position and then, like the Grinberryol family, only marry people with strong magic to maintain that strength. Just as in the Clover Kingdom, royals marry nobles to further strengthen the family. Thus, the strength of the Yami clan must be based either on marriage or on the power they have obtained in the past that can be inherited. The fact that the Yami family does not have the privilege of forced marriages with nobles means that they either force strong women to produce children, which is hard to imagine for a family that works directly under the royal family, or as already mentioned, they have received power from someone, perhaps from Lucifugus, which might explain the dark magic. Then Ichika continues with a legend from the land of the rising sun, which I suspect is based on a mythological story from Japan that basically describes the birth of the place Yami came from. But it goes much deeper than that. This story may actually hold some clues as to what happened to the Yami clan, and may even answer whether or not the Ryudo family is evil. In the land of the rising sun, probably in the province where Yami comes from, there was a 5-headed dragon that was calmed by a celestial woman. The magic power of the dragon leaked out and the sea turned black. That this is more than just a legend is clear from the fact that the sea is actually black. And not only in the legend but also in the flashback. We already noticed in the last chapter a strange black ground where the water should be. Now it turns out that the sea is actually black and is not just a shadow or a mistake. And this black water has something to do with the legend of the dragon. Furthermore, it is said that this event was somehow connected with hell through space-time distortion. So here we have clear confirmation that the land of the rising sun does indeed have something to do with devils. Because hell is simply another word for the underworld from which all the other devils we have seen on the continent of the Four Kingdoms come. More important is the mythology behind this legend. It is a reference to the 5-headed dragon of Enoshima and the goddess Benzaiten. It is a story about the troubles of the fishermen villagers who lived near Enoshima. The villagers were plagued over a period of thousands of years by a destructive 5-headed dragon whose torso was surrounded by black clouds and who had his lair in a nearby large lake. This description actually fits very well with the image we can see in Black Clover. 5 heads, black clouds, perfect. The 5-headed dragon first appeared at the water gate, possibly the gate we saw in Black Clover at the entrance to the fisherman village. By entrance I mean the entrance from the sea, not from the land. This kind of gate we see in the background is called Torii, and it is a very important part of the plot in Black Clover. One day dark clouds covered the sea at the water gate to the lake, and then the goddess Benzaiten appeared above the clouds. Some legends even believe she was accompanied by the elemental spirits, such as the water spirit for example. This goddess caused lightning to shoot to the ground. That pretty much describes what we can see in the new Black Clover chapter. So there's absolutely no doubt that this picture represents the 5-headed dragon of Enoshima and the goddess Benzaiten. When she descended, before she could touch the water with her feet, an island was formed that has been considered sacred land ever since. And this is where the gate comes in. So the basic idea behind this is that the legend explains that Enoshima Island was created by the goddess Benzaiten, which made it a sacred place, hence the Torii as the entrance. Torii were originally built as entrance gates to shrines and other sacred places. What lies in front of the Torii are the towns and villages where people live, such as the fishing village in Black Clover, while the land behind the gates is considered the holy ground of the gods, in this case the sea or the lake. In other words, the Torii form the boundary between the human and spiritual worlds, symbolizing that the gods dwell behind these gates. In this case, it clearly shows the entrance to the goddess Benzaiten, who freed the villagers from the 5-headed dragon. Everything fits together perfectly. When the 5-headed dragon saw the goddess, he wanted to tell her about his deepest wish. He came to the island and wanted to tell her about his love. But she rejected his proposal as punishment for the misfortune he had brought upon the humble fishing communities. Immediately the dragon changes his behavior and instead became a powerful protector of the area. In some versions it is said that the goddess actually married the dragon afterwards and thus either sacrificed herself for the people or really fell in love with the dragon, thus ensuring that the dragon never again fell into his old bad habits. It is quite possible that the cloudy weather that Asta noticed is related to the story, and it is also possible that the goddess Benzaiten is the inventor of the ZETTEN technique she used to split the sky in half when she fought the dragon. Benzaiten, ZETTEN, you see what I mean? It is also interesting to note that the Ryudo family is in fact a reference to dragons. This name contains the kanji for dragon and hat. So does the legend really tell a dragon and a goddess, or of the Ryudo family and perhaps a strong magician who may have even had a contract with a powerful being such as an elemental spirit or perhaps a devil? Or who knows, maybe it really is a goddess. The point is that it is hard to believe that such a legend about an evil dragon that terrorized the land and then suddenly protected it has nothing to do with the Ryudo family, which is now the protector of the land of the rising sun, Ryu being the shogun of the land, while Ryu literally means dragon. This is definitely an open question. It could be that the Ryudo family was indeed evil in the past, but changed for some reason, or it could be that they never changed, but now they just commit evil acts in a different way, so that no one notices. Or maybe it's just a hidden hint that Ryo himself is evil. It could also mean that the Ryudo family has some kind of dragon magic or other dragon power that they keep secret. Perhaps Ryo even has the ability to transform into a dragon. For example, if there is such a thing as a dragon spirit, and Ryo, or rather the Ryudo family, have made a contract with that dragon. Just like the water spirit only serves the Heart Kingdom, something like that. There are many possibilities. Now about the whole Yami clan thing. It is interesting that the story about the dragon and the goddess even has a very small part about strange human-like creatures born from something supernatural. A noble woman prayed to the goddess Benzaiten to give her male heirs. One day she then gave birth to 500 eggs. Fearing that monsters might hatch from them, she had the eggs placed in a basket and thrown into a river near a fishing village. A fisherman rescued them and placed them in the warm sand to hatch. He was very surprised when a few days later he found a bunch of young boys instead of chickens. Who knows, maybe this has something to do with how the Yami clan was born and obtained dark magic, if dark magic is the power of Lucifugus, and he basically made a contract with a woman or the whole family so that every new child of that family will have dark magic, something along those lines. But anyway, the relevant and confirmed part is that the Yami clan seems to be a little crazy and maybe has the potential to be evil. After all, they are associated with the term Kijin, so they seem to be possibly causing problems, you know, being barbaric, drinking in public and harassing people, something like that. Just look at Yami's father. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Yami clan, which is supposed to protect the land of the rising sun, became too powerful and perhaps planned some sort of revolution to overthrow the throne. Basically, the Yami family was to replace the Ryudo family. It could go down in two ways. Either the Yami clan planned to slaughter the Ryudo family and all who support them, in which case Yami decided to prevent this. But here it is difficult to understand why Yami literally slaughtered everyone in his family. While we didn't see anyone as young as him and Ichika, we are talking about the entire clan here, so it is very likely that old and young were involved. If Yami was trying to prevent a massacre initiated by his family, his reaction was a bit over the top, which makes it hard to believe that this was the case. The second possibility is that the Ryudo family planned to destroy the Yami clan for some reason, perhaps because the Yami clan really wanted to take over the country, so the Ryudo family planned to release that dragon, which they have kept secret for thousands of years, their ultimate weapon or something like that. This would then be a reference to the legend with the five-headed dragon. Perhaps this dragon actually exists. And Yami somehow witnessed this power and learned of their plan, maybe even with the help of Ryo. For example, Ryo might have accidentally heard about the plan to destroy the Yami clan from his family in the royal palace, and rushed to tell Yami about it. It could be that Ryo then somehow managed to make a deal with his family so that Yami had the chance to kill everyone himself, and in return spare his little sister Ichika, with the Ryudo family allowing her to live the lie that Yami was the one who slaughtered the clan, which in this scenario would be true, but the real reason would be kept secret from her. That is, Yami did the inevitable and made sure that at least his little sister will survive. But even though this version may sound possible, it's hard to believe that Yami could defeat an entire warrior clan at only 13 years old. Just look at Yami's father. You don't get a body like that by lying around and doing nothing. We saw Yami just barely manage to block his father's attack with 2 arms, while his father, completely drunk and with only 1 arm, threw a half-hearted blow. So how are we supposed to believe that Yami managed to do all that without any help? There are only 3 options. Either Yami received help from a certain source of power, such as Lucifugus, or whatever else could make him temporarily become the strongest person in the land of the rising sun, capable of destroying the strongest clan all by himself with only 13 years. Or Yami was controlled or possessed and had no choice simply because he had no control over his own body. And the last possibility is that this was a lie and Ichika simply saw something that was not real. I almost like this idea the best because of the fact that in a way it makes the most sense. The fact that she saw it with her own eyes was emphasized in this chapter, with Asta assuming that something about it can't be right. He says that Ichika must be mistaken, and even though she saw it herself, it must be wrong, and there must be an explanation as to why Ichika saw what she saw even though Yami is innocent. And as Black Clover usually works, Asta's intuition is most likely the truth. As we explained in one of our videos where we broke down the Japanese understanding of ki, ki can be used to control what other people feel. In this way, for example, Ryo could make Asta feel the ki he feels from Yami, when in fact Ryo's ki feels quite different. This way Asta wouldn't even be able to notice that Ryo might be evil. For example, if we assume that Ryo was behind the Yami clan massacre, then he might have taken over Yami's ki to make Ichika feel more comfortable around him. Ichika's survival will be important to create this this lie, because she would be the necessary eyewitness for this lie to even work. If Ryo slaughtered the Yami clan, then he couldn't just say it was Yami. People would think he was lying. But with Ichika, that's not a problem. That would explain why Ichika survived in case Yami had nothing to do with it. And if Ryo really has the ability to make people feel different things using ki, then maybe he can even use ki to make people see things that aren't there. Illusions or hallucinations. That was also one of the Japanese understanding of ki. Maybe even the ability to control people, because controlling a body also has something to do with ki in a way. If that is true, then Asta was referring to some kind of manipulation when he said that even though Ichika saw everything with her own eyes, it must be a mistake. In this case, it could be that Ryo could have made Ichika see Yami murdering the clan when in fact it wasn't him. But who else could have killed the Yami clan when they are the strongest people in the country? Neither Yami nor Ryo or anyone else should have been able to do that. Even in a clan war between Ryudo clan and Yami clan, the Yami family would have to emerge victorious unless the Ryudo clan has a secret weapon, like the dragon. But this is only theoretical. Practically speaking, we have to take into account what Ichika saw, or at least assume that what really happened is close to what Ichika thinks she saw. So there was no dragon involved or anything crazy. That would just be too much. For example, it could have been a single person from the Ryudo clan if Ryo could actually use such advanced ki that confused all the Yami members so that they were easy to kill. And then Ichika could have been manipulated to see Yami instead of the Ryudo member who killed all the Yami members. So a kind of hallucination due to ki manipulation in the brain. Ryo was literally holding Ichika at that moment, so he could have let her see whatever he wants at that moment if he has such an ability. Or if we go a step further, he could have even made the entire Yami clan kill each other. In that case, he could have also controlled Yami while making others only look like they were fighting, but in reality it was only Yami who was killing everyone, while no one in the Yami clan, not even Yami himself, had control over their bodies. Whatever it was, there are only two possibilities. Either Yami is aware of it or he is not. This is important because Yami is clearly not saying what really happened. So either he's lying or he doesn't remember anything. Either way, Asta must be right. Something is not as it seems. This made Ichika mad, and so she unleashes all her power. Dark magic, dark cloaked, black warrior. It looks very much like a devil form, which would make sense if it turns out that Lucifugus actually has something to do with the Yami clan. That being said, it's obviously not a devil form, as some people might think now. Dark magic looks a lot like anti-magic, and so this form is similar to Asta's devil form. What do you think of the new Black Clover chapter? Let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think of this review. Do you agree what I said, and if not, why? If you like this video, please leave a like. It helps us a lot to continue the Black Clover content on this channel. And if you want to see more Black Clover videos, subscribe with the notification bell activated. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye!